On number 28, we're asked to write an equation for each inverse function graph, and we have 3 of them here. Number 1, I think, is kind of obvious. If you were to turn this one on its side, it would look just like the function that it is the inverse of, and it would look like the tangent function. So this one is y equals arc tan x, or of course we could write it as y equals tangent inverse of x. Now notice this one goes from negative pi over 2 to pi over 2 for the range, which is the domain of the tangent function. And this one has a domain from negative infinity to positive infinity, which is the same as the range for the tangent function. Okay, critical values here, of course, that we're used to seeing or that we can look for are 0, 0, and of course the asymptotes at negative pi over 2 and pi over 2, because that is where cosine is equal to 0, therefore sine over cosine is undefined, and so we have our asymptotes there. Okay, looking at number 2, hopefully these critical values give it away. Remember, in the sine function, sine of 0 is equal to 0, so there's a giveaway right there. And pi over 2, if you think of sine of pi over 2, you get 1. Okay, so the inverse of that would be 1 and pi over 2, which we have right here up at the top. And in the other case, sine of negative pi over 2 would of course give us negative 1. If we switch in the x and the y values there, like we do for an inverse, we'll get negative 1, negative pi over 2, which we see here at the bottom. If we connect those 3 critical values that we saw, we get the arc sine function, or y equals sine inverse of x. Let's go back to number 3 here, and again we can look at some really important values. Cosine of 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, on this graph, we should see 1, 0, and there it is. Cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So on this graph, we should see 0, pi over 2, which we do. And last, cosine of pi is equal to negative 1. Therefore, we should see negative 1 pi on this graph after we switch the x and the y values. And we do. If we connect those, we get this graph, which is the arc cosine of x, or cosine inverse of x.